Hey, this is Mitch and Native Survival. I'm at my dad's house again to go over a few more trees that are good for spring foraging. Don't go away. Alright, so this tree in front of me right here is a crabapple tree. It makes very small apples. You know, they're about 1/4 inch across. So it has all these beautiful white flowers, usually 4 to 5 petals. Give you guys a close-up. Okay, so usually 4 to 5, and pink or white. This particular tree is white, obviously. And this is an edible as well. I just lost some of my flowers. Okay, I have a few more. Now, I find the flowers pretty bitter. Not disgustingly so, but more bitter than I want. You know, I can eat them. But I prefer the crab apples over the flowers. Let's put it that way. But again, you know, this is another tree that is edible in spring, and it has tons, just an explosion of flowers. I mean, you know, there's probably hundreds and hundreds of thousands of flowers here that are dried up, so it's not too many left. But I actually saw another one right down the row in the back here that bloomed a little later because it got a little less sun. So I'm going to bring you guys over to there just to show you that when you hit it at the right time, it's just an explosion of flowers, and there's just tons and tons of them. And on the twigs, there are these little, like, mini twigs, kind of like spikes almost. See how that growth is coming off right there? Right there. There's a lot of these growths off of a tree. And I'll go down this branch as well. See this one right there? Right here. Right here as well. So, apple trees have that characteristic where they grow kind of spinely, where they're kind of everywhere. They're not very straight, thick trees. They usually have a lot of branches and a lot of splits in their trunk, like this one right here. So this is where it starts. So it splits here, splits again there, splits there, splits back there, and there's some more in the back, all from the same trunk. So it splits many times, and it has very kind of jagged looking twigs that have these, almost like these barbs. Be close up. See if I can get that to focus in. It's not bad. Okay, so we have these barbs on the branches, and that's very characteristic of a crabapple or apple tree. So we have these twigs, these little little explosions of flower and leaf, basically. So where there's a leaf, there's always a bunch of them, and they grow in these little nodes. So they're like clusters. Alright, so here's another one, just loaded with flowers. Bloomed a little later. This is what it usually looks like. They're much more firm. They're going to stay on there. The other one there, they're all falling off. This is what the blooms look like before they get started. Never tasted them in this stage, so I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. I have my daughter with me. Probably can hear. Oh, I like those a lot better in this stage. Let me try a flower and see if it's less bitter if I got it earlier in the cycle. So again, this particular one's 5-petaled and they're white. Much less bitter. So same growth pattern where you have a twig. See if I can show you here. We have a twig to a large cluster of flowers and leaves going off the stem. So they're like satellite growth. Oops, it's like satellite growth. It's the same deal. Wow, these taste a lot better though. I'm gonna eat a few more. Especially the flower buds before they actually flower. Good stuff. The little leaves, slightly better. Still nothing as bad as the older growth in the other tree. So there's a ton of food here. Granted, flowers aren't exactly going to fill you up if you eat them 3-4 at a time. You have to eat a couple handfuls really to make a dent. But again, this is where the tree's putting all of its energy, and this is the healthiest part of the tree right now. And as you can see, there's just an absolute ton going right up the tree. Thorny or spurred small trees, apple-like fruit. So we have crab apples, domestic apple, domestic pear, and hawthorns. Okay, so American crabapple has those little growths I was telling you about. Pink or white. So similar to domestic apple, but the leaves are sharp toothed. Leaf undersized, some species are hairless, fruit generally smaller. Yellow to reddish. Variety species. So it flowers between March and May, and it's May right now, so that makes sense, right? Fruit September to November. So it says it's good for jellies and preserves, although it's usually too hard and tart to be enjoyed raw. I disagree. Crab apples contain an abundance of pectin and make excellent jellies or preserves. So that's page 216. Alright, so 216. I rather enjoy the fruit raw, and we'll be doing that once they actually get on the tree later on this fall. Okay, so my other book I keep in here is a tree guide. So one side's edibles, the other side is tree identification. And now crabapple should be on 164 of this book, I believe. It has what area of the country, so you can just skip right over those if they're not the right one. I always leave real examples in my books, like I mentioned in some of my other videos, like wintergreen. See, here's the leaf. Apple leaf, crabapple leaf, and crabapple flower. So southern crabapple's there. Sweet crabapple is up in my area in the northeast. So, as you can see, they grow in clusters. This is a really great book. I really like this one. Has the little thorns, the sprout, the little like twig-like thorns. Alright, so leaves are 2 to 3 inches long, 1.5 inches wide, oval to ovate with a rounded to abruptly pointed apex, usually a rounded base, and toothed margins. Fragrant pink, white flowers. Clusters of 3 to 6, and yellow-green fruit is about 1 inch in diameter and broader than long, which is true. It does look like this, like short and fat. Grows as a shrub or a small tree, often forming thickets in moist soils. The twigs are armed with sharp spines. That is also true. So this is page 162 of this particular guide I have. This is actually one of my favorite books I have, and they're very hard to come by. I haven't been able to find a second one. It's by Golden Press. I'll show you the cover. Trees of North America. C. Frank Brockman. This is an old one. and it's different than the others. It has better pictures. Let's see, it's copyrighted 1968. Western Publishing Company. Phenomenal book. Alright, so there you have it. The crabapple tree. Alright, so you're going to hear some cars in the background. I'm about 50 feet from the road. I apologize for that, but this is the only place that these trees grow that I've ever seen in this area, period. Sassafras has 3 style leaves. It's a very aromatic plant. Has a trident. This one has a couple tridents. It has a standard leaf, you know, like a ovate shape. And it has something that looks like a mitten. See if I can find one here. Here's one. This one's pretty fat, actually. So it's almost like a trident that didn't have the other side. Looks like a mitten. So it has 3 leaves on the same tree. Here's another one right here. Mitten going the other way. Trident right next to it. The ovate right there. So this one cluster has all 3. Now, all of these little saplings right here, all sassafras, all around me, just absolutely loaded. It's the only place I've ever seen them grow, and actually that's not true. I've seen them in one other place about a half hour from here, but other than that, near my house and my personal space, this is the only place I've seen them grow, and there's just absolutely tons of them. It's almost a solid thicket of them. Okay, so basically the leaves, when you crush them, they have like a gel inside, so they really don't taste good to eat unless they're really young, so then there's just a little less gel. But I'll see if I can show you. Yeah, you see that? Right there. It's like a sticky, clear liquid. Alright? So a lot of people use that because it's like a thickener in some stews and soups and things. But you can just eat these raw right off the tree. So that glove we saw earlier, I'm going to go ahead and eat that, and one of the ovates. Hey, why not? We'll grab this trident right here. Make a little sassafras trifecta. Alright, so it tastes awesome because it tastes just like the tree smells, which is incredible. Now, again, there's a little bit of a gel there, but it's not that big of a deal. Now the tree is very aromatic, so you know, you scrape it to expose some of the inner bark. So just like this. Alright, you give that a good sniff. Oh man, love it. I made a really nice tea out of this plant. You can do it from the root. I've also done it from the twigs and from the leaves. Amazing plant. So this is another one that you can forage on in spring. And just chomp on the leaves just like they are. And the smaller the better, because I found that when they get bigger, it just, you end up with a mouthful of like gel almost. The texture is just nasty. So you want to get these early. So again, another spring edible here off the tree. This one is sassafras. Okay, sassafras, page 210 of Peterson's. It's right here. Trees with leaves often 2 or 3 lobed. And they say what's edible is the root or the young leaves. Alright? So So there you go. Makes a spice, many other things, like tea, which is what they have right up there. Very aromatic. Now these are very young. When they get older, it mentions here that the bark gets kind of red, which is true. I find a little more orange than red. So there's the leaves. Something similar is mulberry, but there's a huge difference in the trees. The fruit, mulberry has huge fruit, and the leaves are toothed. Sassafras are smooth. They don't get those huge fruit either. Alright, it's been Mitch from Native Survival. Appreciate your views, your comments, and your support. Don't forget our website, nativesurvival.com. Thanks for joining me today. Take care.